Hey tankers, and welcome back to World of Tanks with PR154, and we are here today on Kharkov following Flashboom of the Doge clan, and he's platooned up with Tank Bunny, also of the Doge clan. Now Flashboom is running the Tier 7 French light tank AMX 1375. This is arguably one of the better Tier 7 tech tree light tanks that are in the game. And it's because there's nothing that it really compromises on. It still maintains one of the better view ranges in class, one of the better concealment ratings, and despite being a 4-shot autoloader, the damage per minute output by its main armament doesn't actually suffer. And that's a really good thing as well, because you're basically doing 135 hit points of damage per shot. You get 4 of them, so your ability to just mag dump without it affecting your overall damage per minute is a considerable advantage. We've started off with a bit of a conservative initial spotting position, but having said that, there's been a somewhat bold play by the friendly light tanks. So, but what we're probably trying to achieve here, what Flashboom was probably trying to achieve here, was to try to lure enemy mediums or lights, run in quickly and get a nice clip off to start with. And he's loosed all 4 shots in the general direction of the T-20, and that's seen that medium tank have an early exit from the game. Has been wrapped up by several medium tanks, and of course Flashboom's teammate in the Granatenwerfer Panther has been able to knock the T-20 out. So they now command the spotting position within the mid, and we can see he's able to find some of these targets. He's been able to light the P-43 BIS. He's certainly within spotting range of a lot of the vehicles that appear at C3 there, and we can see he's been able to find the Super Hellcat. So this is going to work out very nicely for Flashboom's platoon mate Tank Bunny in the Granatenwerfer Panther. And they're able to put a rather meaty hit into the P-43 BIS. We can see the enemy light tank, in fact their only light tank, the AMD 178B, has been identified at the back of the map. They were a little bit of a disadvantage here, where you normally see an alignment of tiers and classes, but in this case I'm not really sure an AMD 178B paired against a AMX 1375 was necessarily the fairest match, but let's not let that deter us from the game that Flashboom's about to have here. We can see the enemy P-43 BIS has made a bit of a push through the one line. It's probably not going to get anywhere near the artillery position here, just because you have so many tank destroyers and medium tanks that are going to form an effective gun line here. But what they may be able to do is end up outspotting some of these vehicles, in which case that might expose them to enemy fire. So either way, it's pretty important that they get in and they clear out that P-43 as expediently as possible. We can already see enemy artillery shells starting to fall on the top of the hill, so clearing that out expediently is going to be essential here. And Flashboom's able to line it up. Doesn't need to give away his position, because presumably has communicated to his platoon mate that that's what he's planning to spot next. Along the way, he's been able to get some spotting damage on the Stutzfahn 74. That will have reduced that vehicle to maybe a 1-shot or a 2-shot for Flashboom, depending on how kind RNGesus wants to be. AMD 178B being a little late to the party and moving in to try to spot some of the tank destroyers, but we have Flashboom lying in wait and starts dumping the magazine in its general direction. Now Flashboom will be spotted for this action. Unfortunately, just missing the first 2 shots means it's not claiming the kill on the AMD 178B immediately, as it ducks out of cover. But we can be somewhat confident that he's able to claim the kill on the Stutzfahn 74. There we go, 1 shot, not quite able to kill that time, but would have been a bit of an ask of RNGesus to make that happen. Never mind, we've been able to knock it out, and that's 1 less threat on the hill in the mid. Now, it might have been possible for Flashboom to sort of press that advantage and start to spot out from the top, but unfortunately his tank destroyers weren't really in a position to support that sort of offensive. But when you look at how the map is starting to play out, that the big threat appears to be what's coming from the city here. They're really starting to lose tanks. In fact, there's only a Cromwell left, and so those enemy vehicles are very likely to start threatening the cap rather imminently. So being able to knock out enemy tanks, or at least be responsible for the infliction of damage or assisted damage on those vehicles is going to be key to victory at this point in time. I mean, having a look at the scores, they're actually outnumbered 2-1 as it stands. You can see the VK3002D has elected to make this push on their own. That's just really unwise, because there's basically nothing to cover them. The tank destroyers are focused on this enemy push through here. Now, granted, they have been able to identify the enemy SPG, but I mean, there's not a lot of good of spotting enemy vehicles if your team can't physically cause damage to them. In the meantime, we've got Flashboomers having the time of their life here, knocking out the VK3001P with an ammo racking shot, 801 hit points. That's on its own a third of the total damage collected so far. We've got a really nice position here, really nice bush, and he's able to just keep putting the fire into these heavy tanks with relative impunity without being spotted. Of course, I'll eat my words there. He's ended up being located by something, which has brought this damage party to a bit of a close. Nonetheless, still collecting a horrendous amount of spotting damage, while the tank destroyers on the hill behind are able to just keep knocking out these enemy vehicles. For all the fire that's been poured into that situation, though, it looks like there's at least one enemy vehicle that's been undercover and has been able to continue capping the base. We probably can't really rely on the other two vehicles, that the tank destroyers, to sort of push in and do something about it. Fortunately, Flashboom has a reasonable hit point position and the mobility to do something about it. So he comes in and knocks out the KV2. Well, at least knocks off their hit points. No, he has knocked off the KV2. Excellent. So this puts Flashboom in a position now to actually pick up one of the personal campaign missions. In this case, LT-8, get out of our base. By damaging that KV2, he's been able to reset their base and claim sort of 40 capture points. He's also destroyed 3 enemy vehicles so far, so he's been able to satisfy the honours condition. Now he just has to win. And it probably stands a reasonable chance of doing that at this point in time, because they have a considerable hit point advantage. This T-25 on 2 is one-shottable for Flashboom there. It's just a matter of now how they deal with these 2 tank destroyers on the hill. This is going to be a little bit of a risky approach. He's probably 2-shottable for those vehicles. And if they do see him coming, there's probably an arty shell involved in the equation as well, given that the enemy still has a Hummel somewhere in the map. So his platoon mate communicates pre-aiming of the position. It looks like the enemy Jackson has decided to play a little bit offensively here and try to push up the hill. We may just get a flanking shot here from Flashboom in the AMX 1375. Not quite finding the hits, and we do eventually. There's a very one-shottable looking Nashorn. So Flashboom is now in the running for the Top Gun medal, having claimed 5 kills so far. A 6th will get that Top Gun medal. Flashboom's also been able to find the Hummel, so we might end up being we're not quite the upper limit there, but not a bad game regardless. So let's take a look at those results for Flashboom. There we go, folks. Gotta be happy with that. Ace Mastery badge there for Flashboom in the AMX 1375, and an absolute fistful of medals here. We've got Top Gun for claiming at least 6 kills in the game. He's got the Patrol Duty medal for allowing the team to damage at least 6 enemy vehicles that he'd spotted, and also picked up the Brothers in Arms medal, where basically every member of the platoon claims at least 3 kills. This wasn't some battlefield platoon of convenience. This was two guys that from the same clan. They play together regularly. If we have a look at the team scores quickly, Tank Bunny, his platoon mate, was also able to earn 3 kills. So you get that if you destroy at least 3 enemy vehicles each. So it indicates quite a significant impact on the battle by that platoon. Having a look at these badges of merit, quite a few collected here. He's got the Spotter medal for enabling allies to cause at least 1,000 hit points of spotting damage, which over 2,600 spotting damage collected is all going to feed very nicely into that Ace Mastery equation. He's got the Bruiser medal for causing damage to enemy modules or crew members at least 5 times in the course of the battle, one of which, of course, being the ammo rack of the BK3001P, which that ammo racking hit gives Flashboom the Demolition Expert medal. He's also got the Duelist medal for destroying at least 2 enemy vehicles that had caused damage to them in turn, and of course the Fire for Effect medal for doing at least their hit points in damage, which with over 3,200 damage inflicted on the enemy team, he's well and truly deserved that medal. Having a look at the team scores, quite a significant top on XP placement, sort of nearly doubling the T-25 on 2 behind him, but certainly not to detract from their efforts in that game. Of course, special mention to Tank Bunny, who was quite instrumental in laying down the fire on a lot of these enemy vehicles where Flashboom needed it. Special mention on the enemy team to the IS-2 Armoured. Unfortunately, not quite able to carry hard enough, but looks like they'd had quite an effect on the battle in the city, causing a lot of damage to Flashboom's team. We've got to remember, of course, they were in a position they were outnumbered 2-1 for a while there, so there were some enemy vehicles that were really contributing to the game here. Having a look at the final credit position, we have turned a slight profit here, which I guess that's testament to the result here, and the fact that Flashboom hadn't fired a lot of premium ammunition in this game, although substantially going for the flanking shots. I would suggest Flashboom didn't really have to. It was a bit of an expensive game in terms of the consumables. We know he was running food at least, but that I guess that's part and parcel of running some of those premium consumables. But never mind, he's made a profit and come away with a personal campaign mission for the T-55A. So in that case, you really don't mind losing a couple of credits here and there for that sort of result. And if you've got a result that you'd like to share with the community, please reach out over Discord or any of the links below, and we'll do our best to sort you out. In the meantime, take care out there.